Alright, this is 21st century beat poet Seamas Navarro here at the Boulder Library. Food on me. And yeah, this gang stalking thing has been super ramping up. So, as I said in my last video, they go to towns and they build networks. This is a very detrimental thing to the gang stalking world. Nah, who cares? Anyway, this is a very detrimental thing to the gang stalker world because if they can manipulate people using lies, slanders, various political movements, being chameleons, and like slipping in here and there so that they can manipulate people, coming off reasonable, hip, all that in a bag of chips. Yeah, it's very, very difficult, right? And they've told me numerous times you can't fight these types of attacks. But I can't. Because A, it's bullshit. And B, they're liars and slanderers. Do you know that Sasha Ferguson, two S's in Ferguson, and Melissa Milliner are currently dealing methamphetamine and using? Ooh. Meanwhile, they're coming at me sideways, for whatever. They're dealing and using the same things that I have issues with. Yet they're saying, oh, I can do that. Or we can do that. We can handle it. Because we're gang stalkers. They also say, if I say it, it's true. So they are full of shit. Anything they say, even if it is the truth, is only to promote a greater, further lie. These people are master manipulators under the black flag or black magic aspect. This is their magic. Magic is manipulation, and this is what they're doing. So, crazy times in Denver the past couple days. All this shit. Meanwhile, still, nobody will come up and ask me a question directly to my face. Now, I guess they're going around saying, oh, don't do that because we'll get in trouble for it. And then when people want to beat me up, they're like, oh, don't do that because, we could get in trouble for it. Meanwhile, they're still trying to farm out their heinous deeds as far as stuff like that on other people without doing it to themselves. And they say that's the gang stalker way. Have you ever heard anything more cowardly and hypocritical? More ridiculous? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty up there. Me, my life is an open book. I'm homeless. I'm out there. But I'm not that bad of a person. They are. They can make it look like I'm unsightly. I am. I'm a homeless person. But I'm not unsightly. I go off and do my thing off. Like, out somewhere. And people who want to make judgments on drug use and whatever, I'd like to see your web searches and your fucking drug use. Well, cocaine here every now and then, huh? Ooh, it's been proven that for every shipment of the cocaine that comes up, statistically, that one person dies. Probably the same thing with that too. Yeah. So anyway, I guess what gets me most about all the times that these people have built networks in. And I gotta say it, like, I love places like Boulder and Santa Barbara and Santa Cruz and stuff. I love these places. But I find that the little towns are more gullible to this. And nobody will come up and say anything to me. This happens in the conservative towns too, so. But I mean, not as poignant as it is in towns like this. This is a beautiful town. I've been coming here since '91. I love it. Love Boulder. It's changed, but I won't say for the better or the worse because it's just changed. But for them to be able to build these types of networks and use whatever they're using. You know, it's just unconscionable. Did I pronounce that right? Look, if anybody has questions, ain't nothing between us but air and courage. Just come ask me. I guess, no, well, from what I've been told, the reason why people aren't is because they've done many horrible crimes. Many horrible crimes. Including, as I mentioned in my last video, pedophile pimping of underage runaway girls, integrating them into the ritualistic sex magic orgies. I saw this. They staged it to where I walked by. Well, not staged it, but they made it so that I walked by one night out in Moffat, Colorado, which is a very rural town. And human trafficking. A friend of mine in Albuquerque told me that the 2 girls they were using had been sold. There are many other things that these people have done. Yet, here they are, hanging out cool on the scene. It's okay, no sniveling. I love it when every last person, brings in another. Because then that's just more on me. More on me, more proof. And I do have absolute proof of this. When I finally nail them and put them in a maximum security federal prison. This is a federal crime. As I said, I'm not one to go to the police, but they were using rogue police against me. So hey, one good turn deserves another, right? I do have absolute proof of this. Yeah, and they're going down. Rest assured that they are keeping detailed notes of everyone who does help them, right? So they can parlay turning those people in for a lighter sentence. They'll do this. You watch. Of course, nobody wants to believe that, right? Pride, yes. Arrogance, yes. Can't happen to me, yes. Check this shit out. I'm gonna nail them. I've already made arrangements that if I disappear or come up dead, they'll be the first ones the cops come to the door at. Yeah, and that's why, part of the reason why I'm still alive, and also because I have some pieces of undeniable proof that they can't talk their way out of. So this thing is beyond all recognition as far as mercy or quarter or anything. As I said in my last video, gang stalkers do not negotiate. I've done a research on this, wrote an essay on it. Like, they don't negotiate. They'll act like they're going to negotiate. They'll hold the deal until it's convenient for them, and then they'll stab you in the back. Because the ultimate goal of any gang stalking is the murder of the target. And this is why they lie, slander, fabricate, whatever. Thankfully, I can prove these lies and slanders and fabrications untrue. Absolutely untrue. And so they'll never admit it. They look like they're winning in their return. They look like they're in total control. But they're not. And they will lose. So there's one other thing I want to dip into. So yes, I need to quit using and drinking and doing all this stuff. No, I do agree with that. But the lie they're promoting among people who hear these things and believe in them, and then, because a lot of these people are good-hearted, they'll be like, oh, we're trying to clean them up, get them off drugs, get them off homelessness. No, that is not the case. I was cleaned up. I was off drugs. I had a place, was working full time, and they sabotaged it. So in my old house I was renting a room at, it was 2-story, there were 4 upstairs rooms, and then downstairs was the landlord. As I progressed to live there, I heard them behind every door and caught a glimpse of Melissa coming out of one room, and then saw Sasha Ferguson sitting in another room through the screen door at one night. I also heard them in my landlord's room, or landlord's part of the house, which was the bottom floor. One night, I came up to pay the rent, rang the doorbell, landlords opened the door, so I went into the kitchen and went down a small hallway and teed. At the tee, there was a suitcase that was open, and inside were some of Sasha's clothes that I recognized through social media stuff, and a bunch of wigs. Another night, I went out, so I was looking for some money in my room. I tore apart my room, couldn't find it. Then I pulled apart my bed because I was like, well, I might as well change my sheets, fuck it. And then I'm like, well, I need a beer. So I went down the store, left the bed unmade, came back with a beer, and my bed was made. With sheets I would never choose. Never choose. My door was locked. Now I can just hear them with their manipulations. Oh, look, we did something good for him. Da, 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 da. This is the nature of what they do. Anything that they could do, any type of twist they could do, or any type of justification that they can bring about, they'll do it. They'll do it because they're manipulative, slanderous, and at core, from what I believe, through things I've seen, and I know these people very well after 6 years, they have no love in their hearts. They may say, oh, I love my dog or I love my family, whatever, but I don't really think they do. I think that they're void of that. It's my opinion, but I've seen some horrible things from these people, including being kidnapped and tortured 30 times. 30 times plus. Given drugs to forget. Waking up with weird, unexplained wounds, and missing days. Go to bed on a Monday, wake up on a Thursday. You know, all this in the quest to promote their bullshit. And of course it didn't, because they're full of shit. And they know it. But then they manipulate around that. And they, oh, this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. You know. So I just want you to know that any truth that they tell is only to promote a further, greater lie. All they want is to see if they can get away with it, and you know, to see if it can be done. And they're having a good time. They're having a good time. I'm glad for them, because every time they hack into my phone, every person they recruit, everything they do is just more ammo in my arsenal. More ammo. So, I didn't mention this before, but maybe I did. So when I was at Buena Vista Prison, I received a letter from someone claiming to be a member of their crew. In this letter, they said, they gave me a couple pieces of information to prove who they were. And then they said that they're willing to come forward if I can get the FBI involved, because this is a federal case. This is a federal case. Because it involves a foreigner from Canada and just a bunch of other shit. So they said when I get out, set up an email. Another one disconnected with mine and message it. So I did. And we were talking. And it was obvious this person didn't like me. I mean, they didn't give a shit about me. But they were afraid of them. They were in too deep. In too deep. So they wanted out. So with that and the pieces of evidence I prove, if this person comes through, maybe it was Sasha or Melissa sending me that letter just to fuck with me. I don't know. But I got enough right now. The bad news is that a lot of times gang stalkers can and do recruit family, friends, rogue police officers, psychiatrists, medical workers, local convenience store bosses, landlords, anyone they can. They use money, lies, pleading, threats. This is a proven thing. There was a guy who was being gang stalked, and he did a 10-year research on it. And there's all this stuff online about, as I said before, you know, government and microchipping plants and all this bullshit. No, this guy found out that most gang stalking is carried out by occultists because it's black magic. I'm not going to take any religious, but Christian, whatever, but it's mostly perpetrated by these people. Look at my former video for an instance where this guy claimed he was being gang stalked and nobody believed him, and they finally ended up putting him in a mental hospital, which is a gang stalker tactic. They try to make the target look insane, crazy, all this. And so they got him all the way into the mental hospital. And then it came out. Over 200 people were arrested. I'm not giving up on this. There is no discussion in this matter. No dialogue, no quarter. They can say whatever they want. They're bullshit. You know, they're total bullshit. You know what I mean? Who knows what they're saying? They'll make up anything. Make up anything, and I don't care. Bring it on. Turn it up. Because you're going to make more mistakes. And you're going to get too emboldened. You're already too emboldened. You feel like you're invincible. Yeah, now you're bulletproof, right? Pride cometh before the fall. I'm completely devoted to this. My whole being now, and my whole direction now is only bringing these people to justice. And I hope they're not, but if they are guilty of the murders I suspect them of, I will do everything in my power to see if they get the death penalty and are executed. I mean it. I don't care. I'm not a hippie. I'm an old school punk rocker metalhead. Yeah, so I, was nice to these people. Just tried to be their friend. Never slept with them, don't owe them any money, never stole from them. Just was cool with them. And they saw an opportunity when I was clean after a while, and then when I started using again to perpetrate this thing against me. It stemmed from a short story I wrote. It's called The Shadow People. It's about me using meth. And, so first I go to the porn shop because, whatever, I want to check out that because that's an aphrodisiac. I don't care what you think about that. Look around you. But that's not what the story's about. The story's about paranoia. So it's a pretty good story. But they got the idea. So when I took off and started traveling again and started using again, they started following me. And they saw how, crazy I got. And they just ran with it. They just ran with it. So people can tell me, oh, you brought it on yourself, you did this, you did that I'm an asshole. I know, I'm an asshole because I tell the truth. And I'm unedited. And if anybody wants to have a debate with me on that, I'll take you apart. Never get into an argument with a real poet. But hey, I'm just talking shit. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Think you're smart? Think you can prove their point? Think you can do that? Bring it on. I've challenged them to debates on stage. They refused. They refused to show me any so-called evidence they have. Whatever. Because they know I can prove bullshit. And they supposedly have a website, and I guess it's a game too, I don't know. This is just things I've heard, but I know they have a website. But people are on this website, and as I said before, I want people to know that this website is illegal. It doesn't matter if it's a single approval, whatever, in whatever state, like recording or photographs. This is to promote a major felony with the intent to cause murder. So first you destroy a life, and then murder. But you don't, do you? It's okay. It's all right. We'll get there. I'll make sure we'll get there. I've been going through this 4 years now. They ain't killed me yet. And the reason why they ain't killed me is because They know I have evidence of who they are, and I've set it up to where if I do, as I said, am disappeared or killed, even what looks like a random killer, the cops will show up at their door. Everybody knows what happened with this. They love to say, oh, nobody cares, like nobody's going to help you. Okay. It's not public opinion. It's the rule of law. Sounds strange coming from me, huh? Some of these do multiple prison terms and stuff like that. Oh, only for stealing, fighting, and drugs. Crimes against women and children are unacceptable. I'm an old school convict. I stabbed a man in San Diego who I thought was attacking a woman. Did 5 years of that. You know, of course nobody wants to believe that of me, right? Because I'm a bad guy. I'm this, I'm that. But wait, I'm polite. I'm nice to people. Easygoing. I got some good poetry. Oh yeah, I got drug problems, but whatever. You know, whatever. This whole culture promotes drugs, makes money off drugs. You know, this whole culture promotes sex, makes money off sex. You know, sex sells, like all this shit. You know, and I'm not overt about anything. You know, you have to keep some things discreet, you know, legal and of age for sure, you know, but discreet, but, you know, the whole culture promotes it. The thing that they've done is that they have taken my discreetness and put it out on Front Street, and everybody thinks it's funny. Okay. All right. Well, you know, I look forward to the day when, not if, when, I nail them. And then all this shit starts coming out. Now, I don't want to do this to any town, but imagine how it's going to look to know that various cities who claim to be open-minded and peace-loving and all-inclusive and everyone welcome and rational and reasonable and all these things helped to gang stalking, kidnapping and torturing, pedophile pimping of underage girls, human trafficking, gang stalkers. Think about that. I know nobody will care. Why? Because, well, I can't say nobody. People will care. But the ones who don't care, well, that's a reflection on your character. That just shows that you're willing to believe anything just to fuck with somebody. Especially if they're homeless, right? Hey, the homeless, no social credentials and, you know, few people to help them. The homeless, easily brutalized and slandered. The homeless. You know, excuse me? Like, what are you addicted to these days? You know, what are you stealing from? Even your taxes. Huh? Yeah, as Perry Farrell said in one of his songs, in one of Jane's Addiction songs, or song, I'm not asking you what position your wife's liking it in lately. Stay out of my business. As long as I'm not breaking the law or hurting anybody, it's nobody's business how I live, because this is a free country. These people don't believe in freedom. So being Satanists, and they say they're not a part of Anton LaVey's thing, but I think they are. But anyway, Anton LaVey, instead of preaching sex rules and political anarchy, wanted to create a police state where the weak are weeded out and the leadership are left to promote the higher mysteries of black magic. Yeah, this is what these people believe in: totalitarianism, mind control, manipulation. This is what they want. They'll sit there and say, oh, this is for your own good, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so getting all the way back to this, I said, well, I do need to quit and clean up. Right? On the other hand, I will never do it for them, or because the more they try to make me, the deeper my heels get. Yeah. I'm that pissed off? Yeah, right on, thanks. Yeah, I'm that pissed off, and I don't care. Because the great thing about me is that I'm not a slave to people's opinions or hang-ups. I respect your opinion, well, you know, whatever. You're right to it. This is the United States. You're free to believe what you want. As long as no laws are broken, you can worship the devil. It's a free country. I don't care about that. But I'm not a slave. And I think that's the other thing that people, or that these people hate, is that I'm free. I'm free. And they don't like freedom. Sounds crazy, but they've proven it to me many times. Am I rambling? Yeah, probably people will say that. Oh, I know they'll say that. They'll say anything. You know. It's that one actor said in Tequila Sunrise, you know, that the one woman, to get out of trouble, she would have sex with a snake on live primetime TV. You know? Same thing with these people. They'll do anything, say anything, whatever they have to do, you know, to get one adherent. It's okay. Sounds like me? Really? Does it sound like me? Well, I'm not willing to do anything. I'm not willing to do anything. I have limits and boundaries and morals. You know? I have limits and boundaries and morals. These people don't. You won't believe this about me. You'll believe whatever you want. Rest in your pride. Yeah. Run with it. Yeah. Yeah. Because when it finally comes out and I nail him, it's just going to be a greater backhand. Pow! And I'm going to revel in it. I know. I'm so angry, aren't I? Am I? Or do they deserve it? That's what they're saying about me, that I deserve, but I don't. I don't deserve what they're doing to me. I didn't do anything. Them, on the other hand, they did a lot. And that's why they're telling people, don't say anything to him, because we get into a lot of trouble. Yeah. To those of you who help them, I realize that you're just deluded with their lies. Fine. But realize, as I said, they're keeping detailed notes, and they will pawn you off as bargaining tools. That's the way it goes. Watch. You'll see. Adios for now.